Hopefully you guys like this music. Here's where it is. It's Soren's Bandcamp that he made just for me. And you can listen to the whole Veggie soundtrack, Run Veggie soundtrack for free. And you can even download them. Download them if you want. You can pay a little, you can give them a little cheddar if you want, but not required. Not required. All right, I haven't streamed in a while, so I gotta get off the cobwebs. I'm gonna turn this music off, even though this is like my favorite song from the ones he made. There's also this one that's like it's like a little bit more jazzy. Anyway, check this out. Give him some love. I'm gonna stop the music though. So what are we doing today? It's a good question. So as you may have seen in the little slides that I made, little advertisements, if you will, I do mentoring. And one of the guys I'm mentoring, he wants to make like a first-person shooter, and he really likes the weapon swapping from Call of Duty. And so he asked me like, well, how would I make that? And I'm like, it's a good question. I've never made that specific system before. So I was like, let me do it on a stream. I'm going to wing it. And hopefully by the end of this stream, I have something somewhat working, somewhat cohesive. So this is probably when I would like cut into the video starting if I were to edit this. But today we're going to do Call of Duty style weapon swapping. If you've seen one of these skill building, I think I did another one about like building a deck of cards. But the idea is basically this. As a developer, you should try to at some point break out of the tutorial loop, right? You should be not just going to YouTube or Udemy or ChatGPT now. Probably the number one resource for programmers in general. You should not just be going straight to one of those resources to try to find the answer, because then you're just never really developing those skills of like conceptualizing a system, right? You're just always, I have something I want to build. Let's figure out who's already done it, and then I'll just follow their example. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. Like there's some things where I'm just like, I don't even know where to start, right? The first time I had to do like a click game where you weren't like using WASD and running around, where you were like clicking on the screen, I was like, I don't even know where to start. So I had to watch a few resources and figure that out, right? But something like this, we can probably like break down what are the pieces of it, and then we can build those pieces in Unreal Engine. And if you get stuck, you could always then go try to figure it out with a resource. But I think it's really important that every developer challenges themselves at least a little bit to build those skills organically. So the reason I chose this one, it's actually not that crazy, right? If you think about what are we trying to do, the requirements are pretty simple. And so whenever I develop anything, no matter what I'm doing, if I'm building a game or an app or a website, the very first thing I do is I write out the requirements. So I've done no pre-work for this stream. I did no research. I literally just wrote out these requirements. And it's like 3, right? So the requirements are this. The player has 2 slots to equip a weapon. We aren't going to necessarily care about what a weapon is. We can do that a little bit if we have time. But 2 slots to equip a weapon. If a slot is open, the player can pick up a found weapon to fill that slot. If both slots are taken and a weapon is picked up, the active weapon is dropped and replaced with the found weapon. So let's call them slot A and slot B. We have weapon A equipped in slot A. We find a weapon on the ground. We want to pick it up. What slot B is empty. Now that weapon, we'll just call it weapon B, goes into slot B because that slot was empty. We run around some more. We find another weapon We'll call it weapon C. Now we have to choose which one of weapon A or weapon B we don't want anymore, which one's the weaker of the two, or maybe one of them's out of ammunition. We can drop weapon A to pick up weapon C, or we can switch to weapon B and drop weapon B to pick up weapon C, and then we'd have weapon A and weapon C, and weapon B is on the ground for someone else to come along and pick it up, or not. Whatever, right? We don't care about that. This is like the basics of the situation. So let's let me switch to this, and then I did create a Miro. So if you haven't used Miro before, I highly recommend it. Actually, it's a really good tool. For whiteboarding. It's fully collaborative, so you can actually like invite a bunch of people and they can all like work on something together. It's a very good like brainstorming tool, or like just get all your ideas down on paper type of tool. You can add like shapes and like pictures and whatever you want. It's just like a giant whiteboarding tool. Like you could just keep scrolling out. It's quite huge. But I like to use it because I have this drawing pad and I can just like draw right on it with my hand. Even though I am a lefty, so it's like a little bit wonky because the buttons are on the wrong side. But we'll make it do. You can switch the buttons, but to the other side. But I wasn't. I didn't want to do too much work. I'm being a little bit lazy today. All right, so let's just kind of write out some of the ideas. So we should always start with player, right? There's someone playing the game. And what do they need? They need to pick up a weapon. So we know we need something else called weapon. And we need the ability for a player to equip a weapon. So we could like put it right onto the player. But this is a really good time to talk about actor components in Unreal Engine. So an actor component is something that can be attached to an actor, and then we can have that component handle its own things. So rather than having like the player have like handling all of the equipping and unequipping, and then maybe it has health, and then maybe it has like an inventory, and then maybe it has, I don't know, a stamina system that's used for various things like sprinting and jumping and maybe even using abilities. The problem is like if you put all those on one class, well, if you're working on the game by yourself, it's actually not that big of a deal. But the second you add like one person to the game, now suddenly if I want to work on player and my buddy or my employee or my friend wants to work on player, only one of us can do that at a time, right? This is one of the problems with binary assets, is you can't like work on it together in source control. So by componentizing everything and making them components, you have one of the benefits is like, hey, I'm going to work on the equipment system today. I'm not going to be messing with player. I'll just handle that. And then my friend or my colleague can be handling the health component, and they could be doing whatever they need to. And then our intern can be doing the stamina system. And we're not like stepping on each other's toes. The other benefit is everything is much more componentized. So like you don't really have like one master class that's doing everything. Everything's kind of like broken out into little pieces. Huge benefit. So I'm going to write here weapon component. And this is going to be an actor component. And it's going to be on the player, right? And what did we say? We said we wanted two weapons, right? So this should have like weapon slot 1. Okay, so maybe we just need to have like weapon A and weapon B, right? And we already know what a weapon is because we defined it here. So we could make these variables. We could make them child components, I'll probably use a variable. But yeah, we could have weapon A and weapon B. And so we need to have the ability to equip a weapon. And we need to have the ability to drop a weapon or unequip it. We'll call it unequip because that sounds a little bit more formal. And then we also want the ability to swap weapons, right? And I think that's actually it. That's why I picked this. Like in like when you think about like, oh, weapon swapping, that might be complex. But then when you like write it out like this, it's actually not that bad, right? And so this is going to be a function. This is going to be a function. This is going to be a function. We could do them as events if we want instead. I'll probably do them as events just because you have a little bit more flexibility. And then what else do we need to do? I think that's it. Let's start with this. And then we can always build onto it if we want to. But notice I haven't written any code yet, right? This is like a key part, to me anyway, of developing a system from scratch. If you get into Unreal Engine or Unity or whatever, and you just start trying to write code, I promise you're actually making it harder on yourself. In my opinion, the best thing to do is write down what you want first, because actually you're like removing yourself from the situation. You're becoming like agnostic to the code. Like I do know that these are functions, right? I do know that or events or whatever. I know what a component is. I know that like I need two classes. I need my player and I need a actor of type weapon, probably like BP weapon. But like basically, if I wanted to take the same system and put it into Unity now or Godot or whatever other game engine, I'm kind of like not really, it doesn't really matter what I do because it's going to work the same no matter what. I have my functions. I have a component that I want. Like if you were doing this in Unity, this would probably be like a prefab that you put onto your player. And then these would be their own prefabs, weapon A and weapon B, because it doesn't really have like classes. It doesn't have like classes like blueprints like Unreal Engine. It has prefabs, right? But yeah. Forgot what the component does. Well, let's get into, I think right now we're ready to go into Unreal Engine. So just to show you that I haven't like done any work ahead of time. Now if I'm looking over here, it's just to look at like what the questions are. But let's also switch this so you can see a little bit bigger. I'm going to start a fresh project. This is actually my first time using Unreal Engine 5.6. I also wanted to do this because I want to check out these new really cool template projects that they have. I haven't really tried. I think I tried the first person one or maybe the third person one, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm not going to use a lot of the stuff from it, but I do want this one because it's already going to have the weapons, so I don't have to like add my own weapons. If you wanted to, you can. And then it's got the first person controller already set up, so I don't have to do that, because anyone that knows me knows that I hate doing animations and all that stuff. So I don't have to set any of that up. I can just focus on the functionality of my weapon swapping system. And I'm just going to do blueprints today. I won't do anything crazy, but like, so the way this works now is like you select like the top level one of these, and then they have variants. So like third person has combat, platforming, side scroller, top down has strategy, twin stick, the racing one, time trial, off-road. What is the difference there? Okay. Anyway, we're going to do first person, and then I want to do the arena shooter. I don't know what the other one is, but I do know this one has guns in it, which we'll probably want for what we're doing today. And then I'm going to just create a new project called weapon swapping, and let's hop into Unreal Engine. I don't think I'm going to need this little drawing tablet anymore. And I'm going to pop this up just in case. All right, there's my Unreal Engine. Oh, I got this weird echo now. Can I do this? Did that make it go away? No, I can hear myself and it's so distracting. All right. Fresh Unreal Engine first person project. I'm gonna press play to see what I have already. All right, I can run, I can jump, and that's pretty much all I need to start. Let's, there are some weapons. Here we go. Rifle. All right. Let's start by let's start by creating some blueprints. I'm gonna create a blueprints folder. And let's start by creating our weapon. So I'm going to say blueprint class, should be just an actor, BP, weapon, base, I'll call it. Let's throw one of these into our level. I want it to have a mesh. Oh, I think those are skeletal meshes. Rifle. All right. Oh, you know what I probably need? Let's find our first person character. Let's look at what we got here. Look, move, jump, aim. Cool. That's pretty much it, right? Let's do a I'm gonna do a simple interface, interact interface real quick. Let's do tick. Is there echo for you guys? Or is it just my annoying? Let's just make sure this works. Content first person. All right, if I need any of that other stuff. Let's, I'm just gonna create a quick interface. I have a video on this if you're wondering what I'm doing, how to create a simple interact interface. And I want to add this interface to my weapon. Let's do a new input action, interact. And remember, I'm starting from scratch, so a lot of this stuff you wouldn't have to do. All right, thank you for letting me know there's no echo. I got this like lamp that has a touch, and it flickers at me and it creeps me out. All right, so we have our interact action. Let's add that here. I'll do E. You can do F if you want. I interact. Let's get our hit actor interface. Does object implement interface interactable? If it does, let's set this baby to a variable called interacting actor. And if it doesn't, we're going to clear that, and we'll also clear it back here so that if we stop interacting with something, this variable is null. One more step. Let's create a UI. Do it here just so it's organized. Thrilling. I know that UI stuff is super boring, but I'm going to try to go as fast as I can. Vertical. UI is where you lose people because it's the most boring thing ever to stream. UI and what's the other thing? Can't remember. There's two things though that if you stream them, you're going to lose people. All right, E. This guy 40. Let's make you 60. All right, we're almost there. We're almost to the fun part. I always like to add a little bit of outline too because my vision sucks. All right, let's Let's add our interact to our HUD. All right, thrilling stuff, I know, but we're getting close. Let's just check. All right, interact widget is not showing up. Let's go over here. Oh. Where's our gun? What is that? What are we like? What is that I'm seeing? I think I was like hitting the player. Maybe it's not long enough. Oh. Block all. There you are. There we go. All right. That's working. How far away can I get it? That's a little too far. That's a lot too far. Okay, that's way too far. Let's go back to 500. Now that it's working. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to my wonderful stream. We're making the what's it called? Call of Duty weapon swapping mechanic. But we got to do some setup first. So we started fresh. The challenge is do this without rehearsing live on stream so people can kind of like see the thought process. If you like this, you can put something in my Discord and challenge me to do a future one. And I got like a little over an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So where were we? All right, so now that we have that, we need to get our interacting actor, make sure it's valid. And we're going to call start interaction. And what this will allow us to do, so I'm going to implement this interface that we made just to show that it's working. I'm going to do you picked up this weapon. So the idea is we see a gun, we like it, and we can pick it up. E to pick it up, right? I probably want to change. This should just be a pressed. We don't want to try to pick it up a million times. That now if I hold it, it only happens once. All right, so that part's working. Now we just got to do the rest. But that was just like the foundation, right? So what can we do next? Let's save it first of all. And all right, let's make our weapon. We did say in our little drawing that we made on our Miro board, we wanted our weapon component, right? So let's make that next. And we're going to use an actor component for this. An actor component, let's read what it says. It's an actor. It's a reusable component that can be added to any actor. So if you have an actor and you want to add this, you can. So we can add actor component. We can add our weapon component to our first person character, and then that way all of the functionality of like picking up weapons, dropping weapons, swapping weapons, all that stuff is going to be defined in the weapon component. You can call this BPC for component, and then we're just going to call this weapon component. I find that if you're calling it weapon component, the C is not really necessary because it's already called weapon component. Let's open this up. And I said you could do functions or events. I'm going to use events just because I think they're a little bit more flexible. So I'm going to do 3 custom events. I'm going to do a pick up weapon. I'm going to do, or I guess that should be equip weapon, unequip weapon. That's what we called it here. Equip weapon, unequip, swap weapon. Let's keep it consistent to our design document, our Miro design document. Equip weapon. And then we'll need one more. Swap weapon. Yeah, that sounds fun. I love those sim games, especially because like, well, if you're thinking like Diner Dash, then no, I'm not into that. I don't like the games that are too stressful. I like chill games, you know? Like I like to play games before I go to bed, kind of help me calm down. But that sounds fun. I do have some free courses on my YouTube channel that you can watch that teach you like the basics of Unreal Engine. Matter of fact, like everything we've done so far is covered in my course, like how to set all this stuff up. I have two blueprints courses. One of them's like 3 years old. It's a little bit outdated, but it's not like terribly outdated. 90% of the stuff is still relevant. And then I have one that came out last summer. It's a little bit newer, a little bit more relevant. The only issue with that one is I was doing an experiment for the channel to try to live stream it. That way people could interact. One of the problems with that was you need viewers for it to be interactable. So like no one was really like, even the people that weren't watching it weren't really like following along. But that's also on there. All the live streams of that whole course are on there. It's a lot of the same stuff. So if you want something a little bit slower paced, I recommend my older course. If you want something a little bit more fast paced and like active, I recommend the newer course. Really is up to you. Or try them both. See which ones you like. All right. So we have 3 custom events that we define that in our wonderful design document, right? Equip weapon, unequip, swap weapon. So just like for now, let's kind of like, oh, and then we need 2 variables, right? This is going to be weapon base, and we'll call this weapon A, weapon slot A. Let's be more specific. Weapon slot B. Yeah, and the benefit of those courses is they're free. There's a lot of like paid courses out there you can find on like Udemy or GameDev.tv. The courses are great, but they're not free, right? If you're just trying to learn as like a hobby, maybe it's not worth it to invest the money in those courses. You could try my Blueprints course, see if you like it. If you don't, you can always then try one of the paid courses. You could try another Blueprints course. It's up to you. I'm not going to take it personal if you don't like it. I think it's a great course. I wouldn't have made it if I didn't think it was good, but it's not for everyone. I've got like 99.9% of people say it's a good course, and there's always that 0.1% that just doesn't like it. I can't really help it. All right, so weapon slot A, weapon slot B. So it's actually, I thought of something just now. I think we actually need something else to keep track of what is the current weapon. This unequip is going to need, or equip is at least is going to need a weapon base, right? Why are there 2? All right, and this is going to be a new weapon. Do you think we're going to need something to keep track of what the active weapon is? Like, because like we said in our document, there's, if a slot is open, they can just pick it up and put it in the empty slot. But if they have 2 slots, if both slots are full of weapons, we need to like figure out which one we're dropping. So I think we need an active. Let's just do this for now. I think this is what we want. Active weapon. This might actually even want to just be... Hang on, let's think about it for a second. Pause. Pause. All right. The active weapon we want to be able to fire. So kind of like needs to be, I guess, active. Well, I think both of them need to be spawned. Let's think about it for a second. Oh, well. I think maybe it's outside the scope of this lesson, but I think this is maybe a good way to do it. I think these could maybe be class references, though. Because I don't know that we necessarily want these, like, in the world. I think we only want the active weapon, because then what we could do is we could say... and this might even just be like a Boolean. Active slot. And like A is true and B is false, or vice versa. Why don't we create weapons and bullets like in ball maze? Would that be too simple? I don't know what you're asking, but we do have a weapon class that we could do whatever we want on here. So we could also have like if we were going to get into it, which maybe we will, if we have time, if we wanted to fire this weapon due to like object-oriented design, we want the weapon to fire itself. So we would probably create a new interface here for like firing a weapon and stopping firing a weapon. This could just be a Boolean. If we wanted more than 2 weapons, we maybe would want this to not be, but for simplicity, I want to just do this, because essentially what I want to do is I want to like do something like this. Active slot is A. So if active slot is A, then we would want to spawn weapon B. If active slot is B, which means it's not A, we would want to spawn weapon A, right? You just do spawn actor of class. Like that. And then you would attach these to a bone and blah, 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 blah. This will get the error to go away. This isn't what we want, but it'll at least get the error to go away. Now that we have all of our variables set up, let's like figure out what this is. Get class, yeah. All right. So the next thing we need to do is figure out if these are both valid. Yeah. If we want to fire the weapon, actually, in first-person shooters, in most cases, you're not. In most cases, you're not gonna have a class called like BP bullet that you like spawn. Spawn actor. Like we're in our weapon base. In most first-person shooters, you do not do this. The reason is it's not like really that performant, especially in multiplayer games, but even in non-multiplayer games. If you have like all these enemies firing bullets, you got to keep track of like all of them. In multiplayer, that's like super complex. So actually what most modern first-person shooters do, similar to how we made our interact system back here, you're going to let's actually just call it fire weapon. You would create like an arrow. You're going to put it right by the muzzle. I'm still getting used to this 5.6 thing. They changed so much. Maybe there's fine. And then what you do is you get world location. You get forward vector. You do our little mathy math. Line trace by channel. Now this is my weapon range. And then you see if you hit split, break. And then whatever this line hits, that gets damaged. Like that. That's how typically most first-person shooters do. Matter of fact, this is a pretty like agreed upon pattern. You may have like a few more things down here for like validation, but pretty agreed upon pattern. This is like a very efficient way to handle firing guns in first-person or third-person games. All right, let's go back. Let's figure this out. What were we doing? I get sidetracked so easily. Our weapon component. All right. We'll deal with this in a bit. Let's deal with equipping a weapon though. So the first thing we want to do is we want to figure out like are these are they both empty, right? So if they're both null, we'll just equip it and let's start with A, right? So if, and we can actually just use a validated check, equip weapon. If it is valid, let's do this. So when we call equip weapon, we're going to check weapon A. In most cases, we're gonna have at least one weapon. I don't know of a Call of Duty game that I've played where you have 0 weapons equipped. But let's just put this in here anyway. Because maybe you dropped weapon A somehow. I don't know. For our game, sure, we could drop weapons. Okay. And so if we have a weapon in weapon slot A, which is what this is valid would return, then let's check weapon B. If this is also valid, then here we are going to need to like unequip a weapon, right? This probably also needs an input new weapon. Unequip weapon. The one disadvantage of doing this not as a function is I'm gonna have these lines going everywhere, but that's fine. I think it'll help you guys visualize it better maybe. All right. So if we're also going to need this, we're going to need this too. If A is not valid, then we'll just get class. This is easy. Set to A. But that's weapon base. That's weapon base. That's weird. What if we do this? I think that's an Unreal Engine 5.6 thing. Hey, how's it going, man? Happy you made it to this wonderful stream. Can I do this? What? Why? That's weapon base. That's weapon base. They're both the same thing. This has got to be an Unreal Engine 5.6 thing. What is this? Make it a soft reference. Never in my life. All right. Let's I'm going to convert this to a function. Convert event to function. Search for nodes matching. How can you not plug it in anymore? Did they break Unreal Engine? What am I missing here? Weapon base. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was also a lot of stress, so I'm happy it's over. But we are going to be doing community projects probably every year until I go out of business. Until I get bought out, some company comes along and buys up Jim Douglas Studios. Then we'll stop. But yeah, it was a really cool experience, seeing the community come together, working on a game for 6+ months together. Really humbling. I was totally impressed by the talent on the team. I wish I could have paid them all for their work, but it was kind of outside of the scope of the project. But yeah, it was really cool. I'm really confused by this. All right. What if I do this? Why will it let me do that? What's different? What's different about you? Nice. I'm happy you like it. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun making it. It is quite silly, but and if you guys are interested, I'll show it here. The soundtrack is available for free on Bandcamp. Our wonderful artist Soren Hansen, this dude wrote all of the music, did all the sound effects, like literally had like actual vegetables and was like dropping them on pans and like dropping them on wood to get the various sounds for the game. True sound design, right? I'm not saying he made like every single sound effect in the game. Maybe he did. I don't know. But like really like did an amazing job. He put the soundtrack for free on Bandcamp, and Google this guy. He's not like, he's actually like a professional musician that like owns a recording studio and whatnot. He's no joke. Like it's so crazy that he's like, yeah, I'll make some music for your game. He found my channel and was like, hey, teach me how to make video games. I was like, sure. And then he just decided to sign up for the project. So show him some love and go download that soundtrack. It's free. It's free. Just do it. All right. This is. Am I going crazy? These are the exact same thing. These are the exact same thing. I don't know what the hell is going on. And now this one. Oh my god, Unreal Engine, you are crazy. Unequipped weapon. This is a BP weapon base object reference. This is a BP weapon base object reference. Is this a bug with Unreal Engine 5.6? Yeah, now it works? Crazy. Yeah, everyone loves cab. Oh, where's my guys? Hang on. I had a local artist make these little plushies. Oh man. Yeah, I found her on. I actually met her at like a craft fair. She also made a Toneberry for me, because I'm a huge Final Fantasy nerd. Got his little plushy knife. He's got his little plushy lantern, and his hood can go up. Yeah, she made these little plushies for me, and everyone loves Cab. Everyone loves Cab. He's the best. But Cornelius has a little satchel with corn in it. Anyway, all right. I'm never gonna get anything done at this rate. All right. I think this actually we want out here. Let's just like look at what we have so far though. So basically we checked our two new weapon. We check A. If A is not valid, which means it's empty, then we'll equip it in A. If it is valid, meaning we have something in A, we'll check B. If B is not valid, then we'll equip it to B. If it's not, then we need to unequip a weapon. So we're going to pass the new weapon into unequip. Here, let's also just do this as a function because I just have a feeling we're going to want to. Here we have our new weapon. So we want to check which slot is active so we can unequip that weapon. Which means we actually need to like spawn it into the world, I'm guessing. So spawn actor from class. Get class. I guess we could just like unattach it from the player. That feels a little weird though. I'm going to make this a function too. I'm going to call this spawn weapon into world. Spawn active weapon into world. Maybe it has to do with these, like, I don't understand why there's two of those. Maybe that's what it is. vector times nope 200. All right, what are we doing now? What do we still got an error? Get class. We don't have to like spawn into a wall and then it like flies away or something. All right. I'm winging it a little bit here, but I think we're getting like kind of the gist of it, right? I actually think I want this. Check weapon slots. Check weapon slots. All right. All right. What we actually want, what we actually want, I renamed this because this is actually more representative of what it is. It's check weapon slots, right? If we get an invalid one, if we get an empty slot, we can just equip it. If they're both active, then we want to unequip the weapon from the slot, which is what we're doing here. We're basically like spawning the weapon into the world, and then we want to equip weapon. What should an equip weapon do? We want to spawn it, right? We want to spawn it. Actually, this might not work. This might not work. Because we need a class. This... I think I had these as classes. I don't know why I changed them. Oh, it's because I was getting those weird freaking errors. Let's try something else. Get class. Weapon A. Is this going to work? Let's get rid of all this crap. I was on the right track, and then I doubted myself. Why can't I duplicate you? This is actually what I want. I don't know if I need this though. Because I think I could just do this. Anyway, this is why. Hey, you're doing it. We're doing it live, right? I told you at the beginning. I haven't prototyped this. There's no polish here. This is just me figuring it out live. All right. What we then want to do is. We want it to attach to the hand, right? Should already have hand grip, and just to be clear, this has a lot of this built. We could very easily just go copy what they have, but then you're not learning, right? You're not learning. This one, yeah, look at all this. You can just go look at what they're doing here if you want. Swap weapon, owned weapons, they're adding it to an array. Current weapon, deactivate weapon. Yeah, we don't want that. That's more like it's like an old, like I'm trying to think of a game that was like that, 007 or like Quake, maybe, I can't remember, where you could just have like a million weapons. Doom. This one we want 2 weapon slots, weapon A and weapon B. All right, let's get back to it. Equip weapon, spawn this. Probably want to, you know what, actually, what is it called? Attach. This is what you get when you wing it. All right. Location, we want to snap to target. Rotation, snap to target. Scale, we can keep. Keep world. Like right now, if we just equip, let's see what happens if we just try to weapon base, start interaction. Let's do this. Let's add our component to our character. We're going to do a little bit of testing just to see how close we are. I think we're kind of close, but maybe not. All right, we have the weapon component on our player. When we interact with a weapon, we're going to get player character. We're going to get component by class. We're going to look for the weapon component on this character. If it is valid, then we will check weapon slots. You know what? If it is valid, we want to check weapon slots. Unequip weapon. I think that should be good. Check weapon slots. Self. Puh. BP weapon base. Wild. What did I pick last time? BP weapon base. I just don't know why there's two of them. It's clearly what's causing the issue, but I just have no idea why. All right. I know that, dude, but you're not letting me do this. Oh, wait, what? Weapon base. Look at this. Weapon base does not inherit from weapon base. Cast will always fail. I think something changed in 5.6. I think something must have changed. That's wild. BP weapon base does not inherit from BP weapon base. Am I like taking crazy pills? Self. Do I just need to compile everything? I'm like losing my mind over here. I guess we're finding the flaws with Unreal Engine 5.6 perhaps. Or maybe it just doesn't like the way I'm doing this madness. But now I'm going to pass null into here. I have no way of getting this. I have no way of getting a reference of myself into this. I'm telling you this. I'm like 99% confident that this worked in every version prior. I don't know what this, it's like this new thing that they built that's trying to bridge the gap if a gap doesn't exist. So see how it says like search for nodes matching? And like previously, like if I had like actually let's do this. Get range. What if I had a second variable called range, and this one's a float, and I'm trying to set, right? You would always get this, right? Convert, and it's going to do that conversion. Or like opposite. Like that, right? These always existed before. And sometimes you would get in situations where you were trying to pass something in that like you couldn't, and you would get an error. It would say like this doesn't work. Now it's saying like search for nodes, and it's asking you to like find one, and if it doesn't exist, then it used to just say like you can't do that. It would like give you an X. Like you can't do that. Now it doesn't give you that X. But it's like also I'm like really confused by why is there two BP weapon bases? If I go here, oh, game. Oh, is it because I called it the same thing? Oh my god. BP weapon base COD. Base COD. Now everything's gonna break, and I'm gonna have to fix it all. Yep. That's funny that I called it the same thing though. What are these? So one of them is the right one. Oh, but I don't think I want those. Weapon base, COD. If I just type COD. I know. All right, what else broke now? All right, does this now work then? Oh my god. All right. I just happened to call my blueprint the exact same thing that Unreal Engine called theirs. I guess you should try to check these things. This is why when you see someone's video and it seems like everything is going well and there's no problems, they probably rehearsed it. I know because I'm someone that usually does, but I want to show you the challenge of doing something from scratch with no polish and no rehearsal, which means sometimes I'm like gonna do some dumb stuff. Like right now I'm kind of making a mess of this thing, right? But I think we're getting there. So if we interact, we're gonna see if our player has the weapon component, which they will, right? That's what this is valid is doing. And then we're gonna check weapon slots. If the player has a weapon slot that's empty, we'll just set it to that one. If it doesn't, then we need to unequip a weapon. So if we go back to our requirements here, player has 2 weapon slots. We got that. That's the first requirement is done. If the slot is open, the player can pick up a found weapon slot to fill a slot. Requirement 2 is done. Requirement 3 is if the weapon slots are both taken, and I've been picked up, the active weapon needs to be dropped. So that's the thing we're working on now. But right now we have 2 out of 3 done, right? And this one is like kind of done. Maybe not the cleanest. If I was going to go back through, I'd probably clean this up. But for now, it's working, right? So if we have an active slot A, we're going to spawn our weapon A. That's not what we want. This can just be a... weapon base CoD class reference. We're going to get to all of this. Weapon B, class reference. weapon. New weapon. This, though. Man, oh man. All right. Can this go here? I think so. This we should destroy. We're going to destroy whatever weapon was in the player's hands. So, like, it's going to be kind of weird. Is Blueprint easier than CPP? Kind of. No, yes. The short answer is yes. For most people, Blueprint is easier. There are benefits of Blueprint. There are benefits of C++. People in Reddit and in various forums always ask this question: should I use Blueprints or should I use C++? And the answer is always, it depends on what you're doing. The real answer is you should be using both. Like, that's like the big picture answer. You should be building out your base classes and your base functionality in C++. And then when it comes to the gameplay and like the this and that and all the little things that are intricately happening, you do those things in Blueprints. But the way Unreal Engine is designed is you should be using both. You don't need to use C++ for like most games. You can do them in Blueprints, and with every version of Unreal Engine, you can do like a little bit more in Blueprints. They just like keep making it a little bit better. You also don't really need Blueprints. You can do a lot of stuff in C++. But the real answer is you should just be using both. But the answer to your question, which one is easier, for most people, Blueprints is easier. I will say, in the age that we are in, where everyone's using ChatGPT and Claude and whatever other ones are out there, those seem to struggle providing you coherent Blueprints code, scripting. It'll like say, oh, use this node, and that node doesn't exist. It'll just be like not there. And so like it might give you like incoherent thoughts or delusions, as people call them. But it also does this with C++ too. There's been a lot of times where I've asked it like, what kind of things should I use? And it'd be like, use this class. And I'm like, that doesn't exist. Stop listening to everyone on the internet, right? So best thing to do is learn both. A lot of people find it easier to start with Blueprints, and then once you're comfortable in Blueprints and you understand like kind of how Unreal Engine works, then you can go and start learning some C++. What I recommend to people, if you're like worried, if you're scared of C++, just write some like really basic classes in C++ that don't do a lot. You can even just do like variable only classes where they don't have any functions. It's just like you're declaring all your variables in C++, and then you could write the functionality in Blueprints. But yeah, they were like really close. So let's talk through what's going to happen here. When we unequip a weapon, we actually want to destroy the weapon that's in the player's hands. This might seem like unintuitive, but like it's kind of not. We could also just like have this like detach that actor. But like we're not like dropping the weapon we have. We want to spawn like a version of it that we drop. You could also just say like, Jim, you're making this too hard, and just not do this. This is how I want to do it. So that's the way I'm going to do it. So we destroy the one that's in our hands. We spawn a new one. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. We spawn a new one into the world of whatever that was, whatever our active weapon was. And then we're going to equip the new weapon into our hands. So we'll spawn that one. We're going to attach it to whatever that socket is called. Hand grip right. Hand grip _ R. Let's see what works. I have no illusions that this is going to work. Also, I already know one thing that's broken just off the top of my head. No. Oh, whoa, here we go. Hey. What are you doing, man? What are you doing with that gun? Oh my god. Oh, what the hell? Never in my wildest dreams could I have predicted that. I knew it was actually not gonna work. Set collision. What do we need? What I actually want to do is, God, that was funny. I can't even think straight right now because of my large gun. All right. I think what we want to do is, I want to have a variable for like is equipped. This is going to be a Boolean, and I want this to be expose on spawn. All right, and the reason is I want to check this if right on begin play, get as equipped. And if it is equipped, I want to take this guy and set collision enabled to no collision. Let's see if this fixes it. It should. Nope. Okay, dude. I think technically it's coming out of my chest. Based upon the shadow. Let's see if we can get a good look at my shadow. No. Maybe it's not. All right. Oh, man. Okay. Let's see. Access none. Trying to read active weapon. Weapon component A. Let's do this. On begin play. I think I already kind of so annoying. All right, and I do got to wrap up in like 15 minutes. So if I don't finish this, I'll just do another stream in the future. We'll wrap it up. We'll finish up our system, and then I'll probably edit these down to one video that's takes out a lot of the downtime and stuff like that. All right. We can compile, so that's a good sign. I think we'll get rid of that bug that we had. Oh, hey there. Not equipped. But when we equip a weapon though, we do need to, this needs to be weapon base. Now we don't need that. That should have been a... Whoa, dude. Hey, I can run around now. I think it's like... Yeah, anyway. Gotta get that gun out of my junk. Hand grip R. Hand grip R. Snap to target, snap to target. Are we failing this? No, it's definitely attaching it to the socket. Let's see. I think it's like going right in the middle of the chest. We can have a look though. We can have a look. All right. It's not failing though. Snap to target. Snap to target. Maybe I just need to do this. It's like if it wasn't doing it, this would actually fail. Jesus. It is attaching too, so I know this is working. I just don't know why. Hand grip R. Let's try this. Weapon. Oh, I got a weapon, all right. I got a big weapon. Oh, you know what? Mesh. Get mesh. Attach actor to component. There we go. Now we got it. Don't need you. Weapon. Snap, snap. Keep world. All right, is it gonna work? That's the real question. There we go. All right, I have a weapon in my hand. For this like lesson, we don't really care too much about it. I might just make a little bit of modification. Let's put this arrow here. Let's turn you not by 90. It's like kind of in my hand, right? Like it's moving with my hand. I'm not going to deal with the animations because I hate animation stuff. One of the things we can do, like it's not like right in their hand, even though this should be. Like we can try to adjust that a little bit though. Yeah, this is all tweaking and polish stuff, right? But it's in my hand. For all intents and purposes, it's in my hand. That part's working. All right. We got 5 minutes. What else can we do? We didn't really get to the swapping. We can let's like do this, for instance. I think to like show that it's kind of working, the only thing I really need to do is go to my weapon component and set this also there. Let's find our weapon. Let's create a child. BP pistol. And this pistol is going to have a different mesh. Pistol. Okay, and then let's put one in the world up here so we don't have to find it. Now the pistol's there. Ah, see? Where's our rifle, though? We didn't drop the rifle. We can go over here, though, and we can pick this up. Now we have a rifle. Now we have a pistol. So, sure. It's kind of working. If we had more time, I think what we could do is... So the only things left kind of that aren't really working is the weapon swapping. So where did we put that weapon component? So like we didn't get to the weapon swapping. And obviously like there's definitely some cleanup that needs to be done, right? But for a 2-hour stream, I think we did okay. There's tons of like obviously optimization that we could do, getting like all these things cleaned up. I was kind of like winging it quite a bit, but hopefully you can kind of like see the idea that starting with the requirements was like super important, right? If we start by defining what we want before we ever write a single line of code, and then we went to do our little whiteboarding in Miro. We talked through like what did we need? We have a player, we have a weapon. We talked about using a weapon component that has those weapons in it. We defined that we would very clearly need 3 different components: equipping a weapon, unequipping a weapon, swapping a weapon. We found a couple other things along the way, but at least like we had like a starting point to work from, right? And then we basically just started writing the code of what we already kind of knew we needed. So the benefit here really is you should take the time, do the pre-work, write down what you want, define it, try to think of all the edge cases, and then when you build it, you're just like following your notes basically. If you start in Unreal Engine, you start trying to code it, you're not really like you're gonna end up like wasting a lot of time. And really like the pre-work that we did was only maybe 5-10 minutes at the beginning. If I had spent more time, I would have thought of all these edge cases. Like I would have thought about what should these be? Should they be classes? Should they be like, you know, all these different things, right? So hey, I want to end the stream by kind of talking through a few things about the channel. We started the stream by listening to some of this music from our game, Run Veggies. Run Veggies is on Steam. If you go to runveggies.com, you can click this button. It'll pop up the Steam link. This game is 100% free. This game was made by the people in my Discord community. They worked on it for like 6+ months on this game. It's super fun. It's a lot of goofiness, but just the fact that this was made by people in the community that just volunteered their time, to me, is super valuable. So it's definitely worth going and getting on Steam. It's free. Like there's no reason not to. Just download it. It'll take you like 2 minutes, right? The game takes like about 45 minutes to get through, depending on how well you can find like how quickly you can solve the puzzles. There's someone that's been speed running it on YouTube. He's down to like 8 minutes now, which I wonder how I stack up to that, because I've played this game over 1,000 times at this point. But yeah, just check it out. It's free. You can also read a little bit about it. We did a launch party. You can look at all these awesome people that contributed to the project, especially Diversion, helping us out by giving us access to their source control for free, and they helped us out with some other perks as well. But this Run Veggies soundtrack, it's free. Google this guy Soren Hansen. It's pretty cool to see like what he's all about. Also, if you're interested in getting extra help, I have some YouTube courses that are free. You can watch my YouTube courses. They're on my channel. They will help you like build a foundation in Unreal Engine to start building out your own games. If you want even more help than that, there's a Discord where you can go and ask questions and be part of the community. If you want even more help, I do offer private mentoring. You can figure that out on my website, which is jimdouglas.com. And then you go over here to book a session, and you can figure out how to get some of my time so we could talk one-on-one and I could help you out. And keep an eye on the channel. Make sure that you sub if you haven't so you can keep an eye on what's happening. Join the Discord so you can see what's happening over there. And thanks for joining in, and I wish you the best of luck. I'll be around.